Anisha, hi.
Hi, Laura. How are
So good
you?
to see you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting me read your beautiful, an excerpt from your beautiful book, The Rules of Arrangement, which is definitely my favorite title. I told you that when I first heard it.
Yes, yay.
Yeah. How did you come up with that title?
We went back and forth a lot with my editor, and we were trying to have titles which were, longer, almost like verby. Uh, but then I have a lot of arranged marriage rules in the book, which I have,
Yes,
like rule number one, rule number two. So we just like came up on this, and my editor loved it. So
beautiful. Well, I love it too. And the I'm reading from the first chapter. I went through different chapters and there's so many great places to read. Honestly, I was a little afraid of mispronouncing stuff. So I wanted to read a chapter where there were less words for me to mess up.
oh,
And I think I did a pretty good job. Scott was very impressed with me trying to read it in your voice. um, but but yeah, so chapter one, which I think is also a really great place to bring people into the book on my show on the only one in the room, is to bring them in right at the beginning. And so the scene where I'm reading from, Zoya, who is the heroine of the story, she is getting her hair massaged with oil by her
yes.
mother. Can you tell me about that process?
That's a typical Indian ritual because most of us have very thick, dark hair.
Yes.
It's a ritual that starts when you're a baby, of putting this heavy, sticky coconut oil in your hair, which helps to make it longer, thicker, which is a sign of beauty, and
Yes.
also helps to prevent frizz, which I learned later in life.
Interesting. So Black people need to be doing this. This needs to be passed on to people who are descendants of Africans, because we need longer and less frizz for sure.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
have frizzy hair, so that's been my ritual, which I've passed on to my daughter, which who loves it,
Right.
thankfully.
So do
But
you do the oil massage on your daughter?
I do, and I do it on me as well because I have very frizzy hair.
Ah. So tell me about that. Like, do you get like a clump of coconut oil and rub it in your hand and then massage it through?
I actually do not like the smell of coconut oil. My daughter loves it, so I use baby oil,
Okay.
uh, and just any like the baby oil that you use to massage babies, and I just like the smell. So
Yeah, I like the smell too.
it is. I love it. It just makes me think of babies. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's awesome. So that's where I chose to bring in our listeners, is you're getting this massage from your mother, who is, I'm sure it is an act of love, but it sounds like she's kind of fighting with your hair at that point, right?
it is. So I specifically gave Zoya really bad hair. I'm
Oh, I'm
bad at
sorry. I keep saying your, yeah, no.
okay. It's we all come in like with our stories, right? And
Yes,
we
yes.
personalize them.
So
But
Zoya's mom is fighting with her hair, because she wants her to be presentable, right?
presentable, and she's also taking out her frustration at the fact that Zoya is still not married on her hair because it's supposed to be like a nice leisurely massage, and she's just kind of
Yeah.
smashing her head.
Now, so Zoya at this point is what I think to be very young. She's 26,
Mhm.
but this is not the prime age for marriage where Zoya lives.
It
She's
is.
older.
It is the prime. By this age, she should have been engaged or have a husband,
Okay.
because in typical arranged marriages they start early. It takes a long time for you to like find a groom, because it's not just the boy and the girl, the families have to come together, everything has to be in alignment, and you have to speak the same language, you have to find a family who eats the same food as you. So it's like Einstein level equations.
Right, right. I mean, and you say that, you say the theory of marriageivity, right? I love that. And then, a little bit later in the book, and I hope everybody reads your book, The Rules of Arrangement. Um, I think it's a little bit later. Zoya is asked what kind of food she likes to prepare, and she proudly says like mutton, I think.
Yes.
And then the other family, the proposed family, they're vegetarian, so they're like offended by this, right?
Yes.
But
And
it's
it's
important.
it is. It's strictly, there are lots of strictly vegetarian families in India who will not visit restaurants which serve meat, who will not live in a building in which, meat eaters live. And I'm talking about not meat eaters, even chicken, fish,
Right,
eggs.
right,
So
right,
it's a marriage would be like a deep far thought of
right.
bringing someone who eats meat. So
Really interesting. So Zoya, at the point that I read in the book, she's very interested in education in her career, right? It seems like she wants to find a mate, like she's open to it, but she doesn't want it to be, and I think you write this in the book, she doesn't want it to be just a box that she ticks off, right? Another thing to check off the list of being a woman.
yes, and it's something that you are made to want, even if you may not want it at a particular
Mm,
time in your life.
interesting. So the culture is that you can't not want it, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And if you don't want marriage and babies, and this is for both men and women, there's something off with you,
right.
slightly off. So
Is it still that way
I
today?
I want to say a lot has changed in the
Yeah.
last 20 years.
Hmm.
It's a little more acceptable to not want it, but for the most part, and I checked, and I spoke with a bunch of my friends who've had siblings married or cousins, children, and it's still the same, I think.
Wow. And then so um the last couple things I'll ask you about is there is a person who's in charge of this match. Sheila Bua, right?
Yes.
Is that how you say her name?
Yes, and bua means father, sister in Hindi.
Oh, so she's that auntie.
She's the auntie, and
Yeah,
bua is just a way of denoting which side of the family you come from. So
got
she's the
it.
father's sister.
Well, I knew she was an auntie. But I know like also I know in Indian culture and in Black culture, aunties can not don't have to be related to you. Like I would have a house full of aunties, but they weren't my blood aunties. And you have that in your culture as well, right?
We do. Like the blood relations are called by different, names, like
Mm-hmm.
Sheila Bua. But if Sheila was the mom's sister, she would be Sheila Masi.
Oh, interesting.
And all
Interesting.
the unrelated ladies are aunties, and the men are uncles.
Right. Okay. So here's my last question. What's at stake for Sheila Bua if she doesn't match Zoya properly?
Her reputation.
Her reputation.
And all of these arranged marriages are based on reputation, on the reputation of the person bringing the proposal to you.
Right.
So if something goes wrong, she is not going to be able to continue to do her business, which is
So
matching people.
yeah. Yeah. Is that lucrative? Like do matchmakers make a lot of money?
They do get commissions, but I don't know if it's lucrative. I'm,
So
I'm
it's
sure
it's
it must
more
be
about the pride of
pride, connections, and I bet now it's come to a stage where it is a little more lucrative. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it.
right, right. Well, it's a fascinating peek into a culture. Actually, I lied. I'm going to say one more thing about it because you and I met because I moderated a panel at the San Diego Writers Festival this year. Shout out to them. You were the author, one of the four authors on the panel. And when we spoke beforehand, you told me that you really wanted to write something light that was fun to read, which it is. And there are so many books out there that are just so deeply emotional
Mhm.
that it's hard to kind of read it before you go to sleep, even, right? Like you
Right.
don't want to be negatively impacted by the emotions of the people in the book. And you were in a period in your life where you wanted or you did read something that was lighter that helped you, right?
Yes.
And so and that's why you wrote this book in the way that you did.
Yes. And it naturally sort of came together, that desire to write something light and to give that gift of, humor to someone who's
Yes.
reading it and, chuckling in their head, and this irreverent voice that most Indian girls are not allowed to have.
Right.
When growing up, everybody's thinking of these things in their head. They just came together, and I'm just so glad it came together in the way that it did.
It's delightful. It's such a fun read. And it's been out for just about a month now. So people, there are plenty on the shelves for you to get. It's not like one of those books you're going to have to go digging for. You can find the rules of arrangement wherever you get your books. Amazon, Barnes and Noble,
Yes, it's
and
everywhere.
everywhere.
In
Excellent.
bookstores everywhere.
Yes. So I really hope you listen now to the podcast and enjoy my reading of The Rules of Arrangement by Anisha Bhatia.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you. Technically, Indian weddings are a union of two individuals and their families. But in reality, weddings are prime bride and groom hunting arenas for unmarried offspring. You walk into a wedding and a gaggle of assorted aunties descend out of nowhere to pinch your cheeks as if you were 5, followed by a sly full body inspection to check your weight, gain, not loss. To feel infinitely better about their still slim daughters, nieces, best friends' daughters. Thanks, but no thanks. Weddings are boring, Mum. Shush, child. Sheila Bua holds up a palm to silence me, gold bangles gleaming on her wrist. I will find someone for you. See what a nice boy I found for Aisha? Varun Sati. The nice boy is the scion of a large toilet-making fortune. It is rumored, Sheila Bua tells her clients in a conspiratorial whisper, that he plops on a golden commode every morning, which sprays jets of French perfume on his nether regions. I'm close to my expiration date in the arranged marriage supermarket and haven't even started the search for a husband due to horror of horrors, an education and a career. To start the search at 26 means you're halfway to oblivion. A girl like me is moved lower and lower on the marriage shelf, replaced by younger, fresher models. And when the dreaded 3-0 hits, you're taken off the shelf and stuffed back into the back aisle, clearance and expired goods area. Proposals will wane, and there I'll be, still unmarried at 40. Neither wife nor mother, neither divorced nor widowed nor abandoned. I'll be like those extra pieces of a puzzle that don't fit anywhere, and no one knows what to do with them, so they are banished to a dusty corner till they crumble into dust. I don't want to marry just because that's what needs to be done, like a tick mark on a checklist. But ever since Aisha's engagement 6 months ago, I kind of secretly wish I was more like her and other normal girls.